The advent of social media introduced a new way for teens to socialize. The fast growth of internet has everyone grasping for the best way to navigate the platform. Modern life revolves around what might be coined as the age of screens. Many parents have concerns of when and how to introduce their children to social media. There are many opinions, questions, and solutions regarding the safest way to use the internet. Good morning. I am your host, Sarah Whitty, and I am joined by the local Phoenix teens from Spot 127 Youth Media Center. Today, we will be discussing what is an appropriate age to introduce the internet and social media to children on this episode of Spot On. We will start with Sabine. What age did you have access to the internet, and was it supervised?
I had access to the internet at a very young age of around 5 or 6. We had a family tablet, and my parents supervised it pretty well when I was young. But as I got older, they were more lenient about it because they trusted me more.
Thank you, Sabine. Next, we will go to Noah. How did you have access to the internet, and was it supervised?
I had access to the internet around age 8 with my Kindle. It was pretty unsupervised. My parents let me have free reign of what I got to do on the internet, so that was pretty big.
Thank you. And we will go to Oliver. What age did you have access to the internet?
I had access to the internet around age 6 to 7. I also had a Kindle. And it wasn't really supervised, but they had the passcode, so if they needed to supervise it, they could.
It sounds like a Kindle or a tablet was very popular for most of you at a young age. Now, Sakem, how did you have access to the internet, and was it supervised?
I had access to the internet in around when I was 7 or 8, and my parents would every week or so they would get in my iPad just to see if I was doing the appropriate stuff, and they would see what apps I had, and if I was not allowed to have those apps for a certain age, they would take them off or hide them until I was allowed to have them. And they would have the passwords once something happened. They would check through my iPad, or if they needed something, they would go through the iPad to get it. But they weren't that strict in when they would supervise it, but they would just look over it.
It's good to have some independence with a young age, but not too much that you don't get in trouble. Now, Jack, how did your early experiences with digital communities shape the person you are now?
Being online has definitely made me more accepting and humble as a person, because without the internet, I wouldn't have known how lucky I am to have all the things I have. I'm lucky that I get to have the right medical attention for my cystic fibrosis. I'm lucky that I have a family who loves me and accepts me for who I am. I'm very grateful for that, and I know that a lot of people don't have things like that. So the internet's definitely made me more humble.
It sounds like you had a positive impact in your life from the internet. Now to Faya. How did your early experiences shape the person you are today?
I was on the internet from a young age, probably 6 or 7, and I was really impressionable, and basically everything I saw on the internet, I would try to mimic. That's made up quite a bit of my personality now. I would copy everything from makeup to clothes and songs and dances, just everything. The internet provided a lot of communities for me. I made a lot of friends and found some of my interests. So it's really, the internet truly has shaped how I am now.
The same question for Nan. How did your early experiences with online communities shape the person you are today?
I actually had early experiences with the digital community of YouTube because I've had a YouTube channel since before I was a teen. And I think it's helped me grow a lot as a person because when I first started the channel, I was shy and I didn't realize that not everything had to be perfect. Not every clip I took or every video had to be perfect. And now I feel more confident talking to people. I feel more comfortable. So it's just the supportive community of YouTube has been really great and helped me grow a lot.
Thank you. And next we will go to Noah. Has the internet positively or negatively impacted your life?
I would say the internet has positively impacted me because now I can talk to my friends who I left in another state because I moved, and also I can figure out what I'm interested in. So I found out like I'm interested in technology and stuff like that through the internet.
Thank you. Now we will go to Jack. How has the internet positively or negatively impacted you?
The internet has definitely both positively and negatively affected my life. It's positively affected my life because video games have become my way to escape when I'm feeling down or depressed, or like when things aren't just going my way. I like to escape into video games. Some of my favorite video games being online video games. And it's negatively affected my life because being online all the time, I don't have many like real world interests. Like most of my interests are online, so it makes it hard to find people who like the same things that I do. And being online most of the time makes it so that like I have a lot of social anxiety when it comes to like meeting new people and making friends.
It sounds like the internet was a good outlet for you to express your emotions with new people that you meet and have an outlet for video games. Now we will go to Sabine. Has the internet impacted your life in a negative or positive way?
I would agree with Jack that it has both a negative and positive impact, because positively it allows me to communicate with more people and meet new people sometimes, but negatively it can be really easy to get sucked into things like Netflix or on social media. It can have a really toxic environment that could cause like bullying or body shaming and stuff like that. So I think it has a little bit of both.
I agree that the internet and social media can have both pros and cons. Next, we will go to Brian. How does bullying compare virtually or on campus?
Bullying online is very different from bullying on campus. For example, online people can simply just keep harassing you. They can go relentlessly, nonstop, because they can just simply make another account if you block them. Whereas if you're on campus, it's easier to tell them, hey, you need to stop, and involve adults if it's absolutely necessary. Also, in this day and age, it's very easy to manipulate messages to make it look like another person said something that they never would have remembered saying.
Thank you. Now we will go to Nan. How does bullying compare virtually or in the real life?
I agree with Brian. I think it's definitely harder to hold people who are bullying others accountable when it's online, because they can easily hide behind an anonymous account and they can keep harassing people. I also think that when you're bullying someone virtually, it's a lot easier for it to spread, because you can continuously leave mean comments on posts. People can take pictures of messages and share them. They can send them in a lot of different ways. So bullying virtually is a lot larger scale than bullying in person.
I agree that bullying online can get out of hand very easily. Now we will go to Sikem. How does bullying virtually is it different than bullying on campus?
I think bullying virtually is very different than bullying on campus because when you're bullying virtually, people hide behind a screen that you can't tell who it is. Maybe it was someone that you've never met, but they've heard stuff and they want to insult you about it. Or it was probably someone really close, but they hide behind the screen that you don't know that it was actually them. And they can continue this for years and it won't be that hard to stop. It would be that hard to stop. And they can form little groups secretly behind you where you don't know this stuff is going on, but while you don't know this stuff is going on a lot, and it can be going on for so long that you don't even know. But when you're on campus, it's a thing when you're aware with everything that's going on because they're doing it in front of you and they're telling you this constantly. But it's also very easy to stop if you get a parent or an adult involved. But when you're online, you can't stop that because people don't know exactly who's behind the screen.
I agree that bullying online can be harder to track and harder to stop. Now we will go to Jack. Did your friends and you get social media apps at the recommended age, or was it before or after?
Well, for me, the first social media I had pretty much complete access to was Miiverse on the Nintendo 3DS and Wii U, which was just a little app that was free to download, where you could talk to others about your favorite video games on the 3DS and Wii U and stuff like that. I think I got Miiverse when I was about 13, maybe. And Miiverse doesn't really have a age recommendation. And for my friends, most of my friends that I know of, I don't think they have any social media. But from what I've heard from other people, social media can be very toxic and just very addictive and just overall not a good place to be most of the time. You hear a lot of people talk about how it was so relieving to get away from social media after being on it for a very long time.
Thank you. Now we will go to Sabine. How did your friends get social media apps at the recommended age, or was it before or after?
I got social media apps like Instagram and Snapchat at age 9, and so did a lot of my friends. The recommended age for most of those apps are around 13, so it was a little younger than the recommended age, but I thought it was good because that was around the time that everybody else was getting them. So having that same experience with the bulk of my age group was easier to navigate the issues, and you learn to problem solve faster. So
I think it's good to have a connected experience with your peers. Now we will go to Diego. How do your parents currently supervise your use on social media?
Well, personally, from my experience, it isn't really required right now. As a teen, I don't think it's that popular that parents monitor their teens' social media. But like I said, from my personal experience, as a kid, I had a tablet, like a lot of you said, and now they do make child-friendly devices that limit the amount of things that you see online. And I hear things on the radio or on TV most of the time when it comes to parents trying to protect their children when it comes to social media, and I hear all these directions like recommendations, like 3 times a week you should check your child's social media, see if anything is going on. And that is something I completely understand, because you can possibly track, like going back to the question on cyberbullying online, you can definitely detect some of that and catch it early, and that could be very helpful. But right now, what I'm seeing is parents warning their children more than monitoring them, so they don't fall into anything like that and keep them safe. So something like stay away from here, stay away from there, and kind of nailing it into their brains that it's a little more serious and a little more dangerous than they would have thought.
Thank you. Now we will go to Nan. How do your parents currently supervise your social media use?
Like Diego said, my parents definitely will warn me to be careful using different platforms, but mostly they will just trust me to be mature when using social media. And what I'll also do is I'll ask them before getting apps like Instagram or Snapchat, just check in with them and make sure it's okay.
I think it's good to have a good, trusting relationship with your parents, that they trust you to be safe on social media apps. Now we will go to Damien. How do your parents currently supervise your social media?
They don't really supervise it whatsoever. They kind of just let me be my own person. They don't really interfere in general when it comes to technology at all. I bought my own phone a while back, so yeah, generally not very much interference.
I think it's good to have some independence with your own internet and social media. Now we will go to Diego. It seems that most teens have a widespread access to digital content in 2021. What ways can you avoid explicit content on the internet and social media?
Well, like I said, this is something that parents want to really keep an eye out for, and they really try to get their kids at a younger age to keep away for. And you can tell that different apps are trying to fix this adjustment, keep parents satisfied. And, when it comes to age restrictions, that's a thing like on YouTube now. And different films now have age restrictions. People under 18 aren't allowed to watch something, I think rated R, I think was the rule. And, it's, I suppose it's getting pretty positive reactions. Because it's good. It's good for caution. You know what I'm saying? But parents can also monitor, like I said, and keep an eye out for any so people don't get to see anything too early at an age, or don't get traumatized watching anything at a young age. So I think it's important for them to limit the kind of things they see.
Thank you. Now we will go to Damien. How do your parents supervise your social media to make sure you avoid explicit content on the internet and social media?
Answer to the previous question, they really don't supervise it. Get warnings here and there, but nothing really. I see it.
Now to Diego. Do you have any final thoughts on today's conversation?
So to close out, we all said in the beginning, we've all been exposed to the internet at a very young age. We've all had phones, laptops, tablets, and it may have been hard or not strict enough, kind of like Damien said, like, if you see it, you see it. Like, it's just there. And sometimes they don't really pressure that enough. And I see why that's understandable for parents to monitor the dangers that go on online as well. I completely understand it. And you have to think the age of screens, or the digital age in the future, is just going to get more advanced. And, to think about that can be a very exciting thought of what's to come and all the advancements that are to come, or a very scary thought, thinking of some of the conversations we had right now. But we can just wait and see what happens.
Thank you, Diego. There are a lot of perspectives and experiences on how parents should approach digital life with their children. Hopefully, discussions like the one we've shared today will provide a new perspective on how the internet access and social media should be used. We can all agree that safety is a priority for everyone, especially the youth. Unfortunately, this is all the time we've had today. I'd like to thank my guests for joining me today, and you, the viewer, for tuning in. Tell us what you think in the comments down below. As always, subscribing and liking this video helps keep our webcast going. From Spot 127, I'm Sarah, and this has been another episode of Spot On.